All right, morning everyone. I hope you're doing well. So it looks like Tim Tszyu is going to take on Keith Thurman. Keith one-time Thurman, March 30th, and PBC's first pay-per-view Amazon Prime event. Now they're going to be headlining that. Now, look, obviously Keith Thurman has been massively inactive. I don't mind the fight, but I just don't know where he's at in terms of just physically and mentally, because he seems like he's checked out of the game, but you never know if he's been quietly training behind the scenes. Who knows? He's also very intelligent too, and he's got very good feet, and he's got a bit of pop. There's not quite as much pop as perhaps he might believe, but at 154, how much is he going to carry that weight up? Tim Tszyu's a really good fighter. He had a fantastic year, and his defense is very underrated. I made a video about that. I'll leave the link up here if you want to watch that. But that's a very tough fight for Keith Thurman to come back. He's fought twice since 2019, summer of 2019. Now, in all fairness to him, his only loss is to Manny Pacquiao, but he's coming off a win against Mario Barrios, which was on pay-per-view, which isn't a pay-per-view fight. Question is this a pay-per-view fight? Tim Tszyu, as I said, he's a star in Australia, so he's going to bring that star clout with him. He's got a belt as well, so it'll be for 154 pound WBO belt. But you know, Keith Thurman being so inactive and moving up in weight, I would heavily favour Tim Tszyu. And look, we know one place that Keith Thurman doesn't like to be hit. I mean, he lets the whole world know when he gets hit downstairs. He takes his mouthpiece out, and you know, he's like holding his ribs, and he's been hurt downstairs so many times. I know Collazo hurt him down there. Who else hurt him down there? Pacquiao definitely hurt him down there. And I know Josecito Lopez had him in all sorts of trouble. I don't know if it was a body shot, but he definitely had him, you know, on the verge of stopping him, really. So Tim Tszyu is actually a fantastic body puncher. His left hook to the body is one of his better shots. He's a fantastic counter puncher. He comes and walks you down on the front foot, very intelligent pressure. He's got a lot more subtleties to his game than I think people realize. He's very underrated. And look, he's gotten better and better and better, and his desire to keep wanting to learn and wanting to get better is what I think will probably make him quite special in the next few years, because of, you know, obviously, look, he's got some good genes. His dad was an amazing fighter, and you know, Tim Tszyu, he's tenacious, he's tough, he's got power, he's a counter puncher, and he's got very, I don't want to use the word slick, but it's very cute, his defense, and it's very underrated. So, but, you know, Keith Thurman, if you are going to beat Tim Tszyu, you have to really probably outthink him. And he's a thinking fighter, Keith Thurman, and he's got faster feet, and he'll obviously definitely be on his feet. He'll be a smaller guy, but, you know, will he be able to keep Tszyu off of him? You know, that one time, what was the nickname they used to call him? Was it Runtime? Or something that didn't represent his punching power, because, you know, he was knocking dudes out, but then when he started to fight up at a higher level, the power seemed to kind of. He's still got power. Don't get me wrong, because he can hurt guys, but I don't know if it's all hyped up to what he makes out. But we will see. I actually don't mind the fight. I think it's an interesting fight. As I said, it's a bold move putting it on pay-per-view, just because of, like, I think the amount of pay-per-views that probably flopped last year or the year before with the stuff like Barrios and Thurman. You know, it turns fans off. It really does. I don't know. It really, if you think about it, if in the land pay-per-view is like, you know, how can you be a pay-per-view fighter if you haven't? Well, he has fought on pay-per-view, but that flopped. Do you know what I mean? Not to my knowledge has Tim Tszyu fought on pay-per-view. Maybe in Australia. So it's a bold move. Do you know what I mean? It's a bold move. So I'd love to see some footage of Keith Thurman, see a couple of interviews, see where he's at mentally. You know, I think I was always quite light on him for taking so much time off. You know, I'm always quite easy on fighters that want to take a break because it's such a hard sport. But there is a time when it's like, yeah, it's too much of a time off, you know. It's too, we would like to see you back in the ring. Just let us know if you're fighting or not. And, you know, he's taking it easy, playing his flute, having a good time, doing what he's doing. But you know, inactivity is a killer, especially when you're fighting somebody with massive amount of activity, which is Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu fought 3 times last year, 3 very good victories against good fighters, you know, so his steel is sharp and Thurman's is rusty. It has to be. So, you know, when you are dealing with inactivity, you're gonna lose your timing and you're gonna have major ring rust. Well, not major, it depends on the fighter, but typically, you know, somebody like Mayweather, who was inactive, was just sharp because he was so good. He kept himself in the gym and he was just more talented, you know. So you can get away with it, but I don't know if Thurman is going to be able to do that. I would be very, very, very. I'd be not shocked, but I'd be very surprised if he was able to beat Tim Tszyu. You know, I would be very surprised if he won. Like I don't see him stopping Tim Tszyu, so he'd have to probably win 7 or 8 rounds clean. 7 rounds probably. I don't know. I don't mind the fight. I think it's an interesting fight. What do you guys think? Do you like this fight? Do you think it's on pay-per-view? You know, if you do, hit the comments. Let me know your thoughts. I personally wouldn't be surprised if Tim Tszyu stopped Keith Thurman just based off of the Lopez fight and the other fights where he's been badly hurt. And as I said, Tim Tszyu is a great body puncher and he applies that pressure and he gets to his man eventually. You know, he can put some damage on you whilst defending himself, being very cute. You know, he's got a very awkward shoulder roll, believe it or not. I made another video about his defense. It's a short video. I'll try and leave the link as well, and it shows you where there's a right hand. Tony Harrison comes in with the right hand. Tim Tszyu just shoulder rolls it, comes back with an uppercut. It looks clumsy, but it's effective, and he's done that multiple times. All the way back from the Goucher fight, he was doing it in that fight, and he was doing it against Mendoza. Yeah, and his concentration levels are basically elite, and that's what makes his defense so good, and his ability to, you know, like just walk you down in the mid-range and not get hit that much. You know, Mendoza landed 21% of his punches. I know CompuBox is a little skewed, but let's just say give or take 5% either way, you're probably right there. But nonetheless, Mendoza's a pretty good accurate puncher, and he could barely hit Tszyu. So I don't know how Keith Thurman really wins this fight unless he's, you know, been really in the gym for about the last 6 months and can, you know, get himself up to a great situation where he can, you know, maybe come out to an early lead. But that's a rough fight for anybody, but especially someone that's been that inactive. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. I think it's an interesting fight. I'm not convinced it's a pay-per-view fight, but we will see. That's it from me, Boxing on the Edge. Take care.